Hi guys, it's Stitches. I'm sitting here with John's mom. This is Teresa.
Hi everybody.
We wanted to talk to you guys about a few things. Firstly, we ask that you guys do not continue spreading stories about what happened. We're not 100% sure yet. How long did they say until talk screen?
4 to 10 weeks on the talk screen, and it could be anywhere up to 4 to 10 months before the case would be totally closed out. They have done the talk screen and a postmortem. I'm now working on getting his body identified through his fingerprints. I'd like to thank everybody for their participation in trying to help get my son home. What I would like to do is, one, to make sure this is Jonathan first and foremost. Then the next thing would be that these are tough times in this economy, and there are many who are at poverty level or trying to feed their families. So please take care of your families first. For those doing drugs, please go into rehab, get yourself help. For those who have mental illness or mental health issues, please get into therapy, go see a psychiatrist. I deal with severe depression. My son deals with depression. If it wasn't for the fact that I was in therapy and that I was on medication, I have severe depression, I probably wouldn't be speaking to you today. I've got a 13-year-old daughter. I've had 3 children, and my firstborn was born with birth defects, and she is buried in a small cemetery in a quaint little town up in western New York. When I was 30 years old, that's where I spent in the ICU neonatal with my firstborn, Tara. 25 years ago, I buried her, and we bought 3 plots, one for her father, my husband, and her. I have a plot up there next to her. I want to try to identify Jonathan, bring him home as cheaply as possible. Funding is not available, and they're correct about everything because I've been on the TANF program, and I'm trying to work with Social Security and for myself and domestics for child support and support from my husband. We're getting divorced, and that's a mess. So I want to say the saddest thing I think is that what I found out was the last time I spoke to Jonathan 2 weeks ago was that he wanted to know whether any of this stuff had been resolved in my life because he needed money to come home. And I just wish he would have asked me. I love him with all my heart. I would die for my children. If anybody knows any information, please get a hold of me or get a hold of Stitches.
And like you guys know, we do have the memorial page, which is all that information she has access to seeing. If you have any questions, if you want to make any donations, please contact us. No one else. We're the only ones that have direct contact with her that she would like you to speak to. The GoFundMe program, all the money is going straight to Teresa. Nothing else. It's going to go straight to taking care of all the arrangements.
There's a lot I understand about what Jonathan was trying to do, and there's some that I don't understand. But someday I want to get into this with all of you. I have a lot of heartfelt feelings and a lot of experience with dealing with different things with the government and what's going on today. I think it's quite shocking for all of us. I think we're all struggling and we're at different levels, but we're all finding ourselves more in an indigent situation. If you are a woman and you have children and you're in an abusive situation, please find yourself a woman's shelter. We have them here in Beaver County. Allegheny has them. Butler has them. Anywhere there are women's shelters all over. There are overnight stays for men. But please reach out. There's Travelers Aid. It's a 1-800 number. Please find someone who has the number. Look it up on the internet. I'm not media savvy. I don't have the internet currently. So it's very limited in as far as what I can do media-wise or phone-wise. I want to thank Don Carpenter. Please send any funding there is directly there to his fund site. Any other collections that are done, please do there. What I will tell you is we will use what is necessary to get Jonathan home and to lay him to rest. I believe I probably will have him laid to rest next to his sister. When he was 6 years old, he drew a picture of him and her in a bubble in kindergarten, and they were going up to heaven together. So that was my 6-year-old. He had a heart of gold. He had demons he was fighting. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ. And if you want to fill your soul, that empty spot, it is through God and Jesus Christ that that's going to happen. You won't find it anywhere else. You won't find it in any drug. If you're feeling unloved, God and Jesus will love you. So I ask for you to go to churches. We belong to St. Peter and Paul's Byzantine Catholic Church on 6th Street in Ambridge, Pennsylvania. I will be making arrangements. Jonathan may have a plot on their cemetery just up the hill from here. I would like to have a service done. I've talked to the priest about it. I still need to locate a funeral home. To his friend, the older gentleman down in
Timothy Lynn.
Timothy Lynn that I've never met. Thank you for trying to help my son.
He actually wanted you to know that during a large period of time, John was staying with him, and that if he ever got into some trouble, he would help him out. If, he ever got picked up by cops or something, and they called him, and he'd let them release him to him, and that he was there for him. He wanted to come
Thank
up
you.
with, he wanted to come
God
up
bless
with
you.
me, but the ride that was going to be available ended up falling through, so of course I ended up busing up last minute. So,
And like many of you, probably transportation is a problem. It's a problem for me. So I appreciate what you're doing when you're talking about, and maybe we'll discuss it later more about something in Pittsburgh or through this funeral home. I want to identify his body first. I think that's first and foremost. My heart is caught between where I live here with my daughter and where Jonathan grew up, mainly, and back home where my other daughter is in Darling Little Cemetery. So I'm very caught on what to do, and if I haven't made any decisions yet, that would be it. Any extra funds that would be gathered, other than for the expense of taking care of Jonathan and getting him laid to rest wherever the decision is made, would certainly go towards helping others who are in need of some sort. I know Jonathan had a heart of gold and that he was trying to help others in his own way, and I know he was fighting his demons. God bless all of you. Reach out to God through Jesus, because they're always there for you. And Jesus is carrying me now. He's been carrying me for a long time. And every day I pray that he protect Jonathan and arm him with armor from head to toe, because Satan's been coming at me, through my children, my entire life since I had children. So keep in mind that keep your eyes on the Lord. He's always with you. And if you give your problems or your addiction to God and Jesus, that is the power that will overcome anything and everything. God bless you. Thank you very much. I'll try to be in touch later at some point. Like I said, thank God for Stitches and Brenna. Thank God for everyone who's trying to do something, and their heart is in the right place. We have a lot more to talk about, but I don't think this is the time right now.
yeah, first things first is making sure that this is in fact John, getting him home, and getting the necessity of putting him to rest first. On our side, if Teresa decides to cremate him and doesn't have a funeral service, myself, Brenna, and Dawn Carpenter are talking about trying to have a memorial get together in Shenley. It's not set in stone. There's no day or time yet. We also are inviting those of you who have stories and pictures that you would like to share. We're going to have videotaping if we have a get together, and make a DVD for Teresa to watch if she's not there when we make it. It's really important you guys help us with getting pictures, because she does not have recent photos of her son, and it would be appreciated to to have as many as possible.
Please.
We want to try to get a photo album together for her. Also, like we said earlier, please try to direct your questions or anything to the memorial page, because like I said, me and Brenna have been keeping connections with her. Brenna actually lives a lot closer than I do. There's been issues where we have had conflict of interest between people. I do want to remind people that this has nothing to do with our petty insecurities and problems with each other. This is about honoring John and taking care of helping his family. I know some people have concerns about parties being thrown to raise money. Yes, it does seem a little weird with what is the suspected cause of death, but you guys have to remember how he lived, and you have to remember he was a huge fan of going to parties. He loved going out and hanging out with everybody and dancing and everything. So we do ask, if you attend those events, that you do refrain from intoxication of any sort. It only seems appropriate for what's going on. I also ask that on the memorial page you refrain from fighting between each other or knocking on everyone's form of expressing their remorse for his family. We had that problem on the first day where somebody got agitated because somebody used God. And as you can tell, this is a religious family. Any form of a thank you is welcome. Also, I wanted you guys to know that post from the GoFundMe where we had a donation from a complete stranger, Teresa did read that. And
I broke down and I cried, and I loved what I read, and it was so heartfelt, and it was so real, and it was a mother speaking to another mother and sharing that with the world. I think she was spot on. And after losing my first child, I felt that if there were ever any children around me or unborn, I wanted to give the unborn a voice. And I tried in my best way to do that. I've tried to fight for people in factories, against illegal dumping into the Lake Ontario, illegal dumping into their parking lots and getting into the groundwater, so that there were other babies born with birth defects. There's a lot we need to talk about. There's a lot going on in this country that is out of control and corrupt and just plain wrong. America's turned on its head. I love America. I love this country. It's a great, wonderful country. I've traveled like Jonathan.
You can clearly tell where he gets his active, with him doing the whole Occupy, where he gets it from.
There's a lot we need to share, because a lot of what Jonathan is came from his mother. And Jacqueline, I want to say you're a marvelous human being. I adore you, and he was so taken by meeting you, and it was so important, even if he only knew you for a couple of days, to introduce us. And that was a wonderful day, a wonderful couple of days we had. Thank you, Jacqueline, for coming into his life. I felt a fresh breath of air. I felt a relief, and I was really hoping he was going to go out where you are, and that he would have taken up that invitation. And when I found out that he was in Chicago, I was frankly horrified. And at this turn of events, who could have,
foreseen it?
Except that your intuition as a mother, knowing how dangerous it is. And my advice to anybody is get high on life. You can do that, You can laugh with each other. You can share with each other. You don't need alcohol. You don't need drugs. I'm a hippie from way back, but I'm a clean hippie. I've been all over this country. I've shared my heart with people all over this country. I've lived in millionaires' homes out in the state of Washington. I've lived in California, half an hour out of Yosemite National Park. I've worked at South Texas Project on a nuclear power plant to find out how it was built, to know whether it was going to be safe in my neighborhood. I'm telling you, the apple didn't fall far from the tree. but it's the drugs that got him. So please refrain. If you need someone, that's why I say God and Jesus are there. We all have our moments, but I wouldn't be alive today if it wasn't for them. Because they are the most powerful thing there is, and they will fill your cup and your heart with love that no other human being can do. And when they do that, then you can love others, and you can love other human beings, and you can help them. And we all need to do our part to help each other and love each other. But please don't be so trusting you're going to walk off with a stranger that you've never seen or know anything about and put your life in their hands like what they're saying happened to Jonathan. Please don't do that.
And I would like to put it out there. I know that John made a lot of friends traveling doing the Occupy, whether it was DC, Pittsburgh, all the other places. He met a lot of faces, young and older. I know that some of you that are friends with John were either his age or younger. Granted, I'm not that much older than him. Do remember he was only 21 years old. Recently turning 21 this year, a few months back. And it's really important that I'm not trying to be a hypocrite. I'm not trying to lecture the younger crowd that knew him. As a lot of people who know me know, I used to go to parties. I stopped going about 2 years ago. For myself, I needed to grow up, and I'm still close with a lot of you. I still talk to you. I still meet up with you guys outside of parties. Do remember the main reason of why we have these. It's not about getting messed up. It's about hanging out with friends, meeting new people, being yourself, having fun, and just expressing yourself and releasing. I do ask that the rest of you who were traveling either with John or just travel in general are careful. Stay with people you know. Try not to travel alone. I do ask, there is someone that was traveling with him that I went to school with. A lot of you might know him, Tyree. We were hoping to get a hold of you today. I want you to know, and I'm sure that his mother agrees with me, it is not your fault what happened. You were there for him. You expressed how you felt about the situation from what I'm understanding. And I find it very honorable that you do not want to leave to come home until he comes home. That being said, myself and so many others are going to work our butts off trying to help Teresa get him home.
Listen, I have time to bring his body home. I'm not ever going to be able to put my arms around him again and hug him and have him hug me back and say, Jonathan, I love you, and him say, Mom, I love you too. That's not ever going to happen again if what we get confirmed gets confirmed. Please, Tyree, we're going to do this through his fingerprints. And I want you to be safe, and I want you to come home. I don't want you to blame yourself. I appreciate if you tried to help my son at all and that you were his friend and you're there for him. Things happen and don't blame yourself. But please, I want you to be safe. I certainly don't want to think there's another life out there that we're going to worry about. Please come home. For anyone that's homeless and they're on the streets and you're young, your mom and dad, not all circumstances are right. And you may not like when they try to guide you, or you may not like the discipline. I'm not saying all situations are good, but a lot of times those kids are still loved by their parents. Things may not be perfect, but when they try to tell you don't do drugs, don't do this, don't do that, it's because they want to keep you safe and they love you. And it's unconditional love. And I'm saying it's unconditional love.
And a lot of the time it is from personal experience. I personally have learned from hanging out with my dad and my mom and just talking with them. They did their fair share. You got to remember, at one point, everybody was a teenager. Everybody did something stupid at some point.
So call your parents and go home. Work it out. Tough it out. Because I'm 55 years old. And, we all went through it. I grew up on a farm. My dad was a military police. with the Marines. Believe me, I had a tough life. I learned a good work ethic. We lived on a farm, and I grew up on a farm with beef cattle. So I'm telling you from the bottom of my heart, it's not easy for anybody, and we all go through stages. But your mom and dad love you, and they're there for you, and you need to let them help you so that you can succeed in life, and all they ever want is for you to have a better life than they have. And I think the saddest part of this is that Jonathan finally started opening up and talking about things from when he was a child that he felt and said and did, and that was the last day I'm ever probably going to see him, if this is confirmed that it is my son. So please, time is precious, life is fragile. You only have so much time on this earth, and there are those who love you, and spend your time with your loved ones. There is no place like home, and there is no place like mom and dad, and you only have two parents. I've had others that in my lifetime have been like surrogate parents when I traveled, and we can only hope that that's what everybody finds. God bless you, and I'm going to get off here now. But if you're homeless and you ran away from home, get a hold of your parents, borrow a phone. Don't be out there. Don't leave them wondering where you are. Because this was my biggest fear, was that my son was going to die on the street somewhere and I wouldn't know where he was, and he'd be a John Doe, and that I would never know what happened to him. So please, help yourself. Do what's right. Love yourself first. Call those people who loved you and raised you. Give them a chance. They'll give you a chance. Bye.
Alright, guys. Thanks for the time. Like I said earlier, we do have the GoFundMe still going. To the individual who had offered the round trip to Chicago, I don't think that you're not taking that trip, are you?
I don't think, no.
Okay. So, if you have not already purchased these tickets, we are more than welcoming you to just put that into the fund to help get them home.
Please, if you were going to donate it for a round trip ticket, please just put it into the fund to help get him home, and for me to be able to properly care for my son in these last days, to lay his body to rest. I appreciate your offer. I feel as though it would be a great expense if I can do this in a different way. I wanted to wrap my arms around my son for the last time, but my son is now in spirit form, and that's a body. And I just need to know that truly is his, and I want it identified positively in the right way. So we're going to do that by fingerprints. And yeah, please put the money in the fund, because I really don't have the money for this, and I really just want to do what's right to lay him to peace. Thank you.
Okay. Alright, guys, we're going to wrap it up. When this video is posted, on the bottom right around here should have the links to the Facebook page, to the GoFundMe, and also I will link the one for Dawn's fundraiser that he's doing as well, but I am pretty sure that all of that is going to go into the GoFundMe as well. Like I said, all money is going straight to his mother. Nothing else. No other person is touching it. I strictly am in charge of collecting it for her. If you want to make a cash donation, it is much easier to do this. It is safe. All you need is a bank card. But if you would like to do a cash donation, please message us on the memorial page, and we will try to arrange for either myself or Brenna to collect it from you, and we can put it into the fund for you. That being said, any further questions, any updates, please keep in contact with us, and we will let you know. Thank you.